Reverend Peter Panagore is an author, he's a speaker, and someone who has died and come back to life. He's here for a very unique convention and to share his story. Nice to see you, Peter. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Denise.
So first, obviously, we have to start with your story and your near-death experience.
So I was 21 years old. I was in Banff National Park. I was an ice climbing event. My first ice climb. I was a backpacker, mountaineer. Made a mistake. Calculated mistake with an ice axe, and it delayed our climb significantly. We got stuck on the cliff at sunset and had to decide whether we were going to survive by getting off the mountain or die while we laid there. And we chose to try to survive, my partner and I.
And thank goodness you did. You're now a reverend.
Yes, I changed my entire career track. I was going to go to Georgia Tech and architecture, and instead this gave me a permanent interior relationship with God and drove me to divinity school. And so I went to divinity school to study mysticism.
So when you got down the mountain, obviously you were thanking God the whole way and asking God to help you.
Is yes,
that what led you to God?
Oh, no. My desire at that time was simply survival.
Okay.
I had an interior drive that I didn't know that I had, how deep I could go with my willpower, with my partner Tim, to save our own lives, survival. And it was the death experience itself that left me disoriented in this world and permanently attached to the next life, which led me to divinity school.
Okay, so did you actually then die and come back to life?
I did.
Oh, that's where I want to go. I want to find out a little bit about that. How long did you die, and did you see anything?
I don't know how long I was dead for. I was dead long enough that my partner believed I was dead.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. Yeah, and well, it was hypothermia. We had driven our way through the night with our willpower to survive. We ran into certain preventatives as we climbed down the mountain, rappelling. Certain things happened that slowed our descent. And in the last rappel, we were about 150 feet up off the ground. The rope became jammed in a crag around a dark corner that I wasn't able to release the rope from. And hypothermia, which had been building all night long, along with frostbite, finally put me in a place of warmth, which is the second to last stage. When your body gets warm, it's crazy because you know it's well below zero, but you're hot. And then I began to fall asleep, and I was clipped into this harness that was pinned into the mountain with a harness beside me, attached to me, and I fell off my perch. I fell asleep, fall off my perch, smack into the mountain, wake back up because of the impact, pull myself back up, continue to pull on the rope, and then this one time I pulled myself back up and I watched my peripheral vision close like the camera go into black. And I wondered what was going on, and I watched it go to black, felt myself fall, still had my consciousness, was not asleep, thought to myself, why am I not asleep? And then this intelligent, communicative being filled my entire horizon, rushing toward me faster than light speed, and communicated to me its intent to take me. And I took all of my willpower that I had dug deep in all night long and put up a preventative wall because I didn't want to go. I didn't know what was going on. And it just plucked me and took me. And the next thing I knew, I was in an infinite darkness that was illuminated. And I was like a spherical being. There was no time. I had no physical self, but I was completely conscious, and it was as if I was a singular eye or a singular ear. I could see in every direction. I was utterly alone.
Were you scared?
No.
How did you wake back up? Where were you? Were you found?
No, God gave me the choice to come back. I asked. My parents, I had lost a sister. She had vanished, broke my mother's heart. So I couldn't let my parents lose another kid. And so it's okay. Just a cheerful part of my story to myself. And in any case, God let me have the choice to come back. God encouraged me to stay, but I chose to come back for my parents' sake. They're still alive. They're in their late 80s now. that would have been a very different life for them if they had lost.
Absolutely, he lost both children. So God gave you that choice, which led you to become a minister. And now you're in town for a very unique convention.
Yes.
Can people meet you? Tell me about that convention.
This is the International Association of Near-Death Studies. It's a 40-year-old organization. It's global. It's on every single continent. It's got groups all over the United States and Canada. And the convention is a gathering of researchers and academics and healthcare professionals, experiencers and non-experiencers. And we gather annually for conversations and for presentations, discussions, explorations.
Okay. I'll give the information on where you can get tickets and where you can meet them. But quickly, have you met anyone else who's had a similar near-death experience? Is it all the same?
There are variations. There are sort of gradations. There are people who pop out of their body in the surgical room and they look around and they see the surgeon go right back in. There are other people who go into a tunnel and maybe they see Great Aunt Mary, or maybe Jesus appears to them and they get sent back. And then there are people like me and like other people I've met who get transported into this utterly other place where there's no being and no time.
Isn't that
and
interesting?
Meet the divine, meet God, who has no name and is utter love and beauty.
You know what we're going to have to do? We are going to have to go to Colorado and Company's Facebook Live. I want to do more of this interview. I have to close now because of the show, but I want to talk more about your experience.
Super. That
I
sounds
really
good.
do appreciate you coming on the show, and you can pick up his book. You can meet Peter Panagore at the IANDS. It's Explore the Extraordinary Convention, August 3rd through the 6th in Westminster. You can learn more about Peter's life journey on his website, peterpanagore.com. And pick up a copy of his book, Heaven is Beautiful, How Dying Taught Me That Death is Just the Beginning.